My name is Ilmi Granoff. I'm an environmental finance lawyer. My current clients include the African Development Bank and International Financial Consulting Limited, an environmental and development finance consulting firm. But my focus area is environmental law and policy. The type of organizations that I work with, currently it's the African Development Bank, but organizations like that, the World Bank, other international financial institutions that are involved in financing economic development and human development around the world have increasingly realized that in order to achieve the development aims that they want to achieve, they have to take into account the context, the environmental context in which these projects operate, and to take that seriously. The challenge is that this is a new field for a lot of individuals, and these are big organizations that want to take this seriously, and it takes a long time to shift. So they're working on these kinds of issues quite aggressively. And trying to integrate things like REDD+ into their projects and into their operations. Forests have inestimable value in their genetic resources, in their aesthetic value, in their value as homes for human populations. So they have tremendous different values. We're used to valuing one aspect before, which was their timber value, which involved cutting them down. Now we're valuing a standing value of their carbon value, and we want to eventually expand that. But this is really the way to start, to place a value that's tangible and make people take that seriously. It changes the incentives of how we treat forests, and so this is really the way to start. And that's why I believe in REDD+. There was a speaker today who was talking about how important it is to be ahead of the curve in business, and I think that's actually a really excellent way of putting it. If you don't understand the context in which your resource supply chain operates, the implications, if you don't understand that climate change is real, and there are ways of mitigating and adapting to it, and those involve the forest ecosystems on which our well-being as a species rely. If you don't take that seriously, then you're not really thinking about the long-term sustainability of your business. And so I think that that's why something like REDD+ is so important to businesses, is if you're really thinking ahead, you have to understand this stuff. It sometimes seems so far afield from what people are used to thinking about. And that's usually, I think, where the resistance comes in business. And people are willing to say, okay, well, the world is changing. And 30 years ago, 20 years ago, we might not have even been, we weren't thinking about the internet and how it affected our business. So, and now, if you didn't take the internet seriously as part of your business model, your business will fail. And it's the same thing with climate change. You could say, well, it's not part of what we usually look at in our business. But if you don't take it seriously as part of your business model, it's the same thing. I think a really good place to start is to make sure that you're looking at really prioritizing the costs and efficiency of your system, really placing a value in looking at your business operations, on places where you're being inefficient, because it's very easy to persuade shareholders that cutting costs that are wasteful are good for the company. And there's a tremendous amount of waste and inefficiency in business. And so placing a slightly higher value on reducing that inefficiency over the value of producing another widget and how that will affect your profit is really a great place to start and very easy to begin with. And then and taking that seriously, that you really want to have the smallest input for your output. And that's a really great place to start. And then learning about this stuff and making sure that your middle management understands this. I've seen a lot of places where the top executives, these are visionaries who invent Java or some really innovative concept or technology. They really get it, and they really want to do something, and they understand how it relates to their business, but they don't understand that it's not sufficient that they understand it. that it really has to be something that is institution-wide, and steering their organization to make sure that people understand that they have to understand it as well if they're going to stick around is another really good way of moving in that direction in a really concrete way and in a lasting way.